Well, good morning. Welcome to Debbie's Back Porch. So glad to have you with us. Well, I have some really old chickens. They were my neighbor's chickens. They've stopped laying. My neighbor was moving away. He asked would I take the chickens, and I did. And they were my chickens to start with when they were young, and they're about 7 years old. So I had no expectation of eggs. They were just in the old chicks' home. But I went out this morning and looked in a new spot, and oh my, there were 6 eggs. Now, there's only 3 chickens, so that means at least half of these eggs are at least 2 days old. But I didn't know because they were in a spot that I don't normally look, so I had no idea how old they were, and I didn't want to crack them because it might have been unpleasant. So I'm going to test the eggs for freshness. Now, I think they're probably 1 and 2 days old, but I don't know that. These are old chickens, haven't laid in a while. So I want to check these eggs. Now, this is a grocery store egg, and I've had it in my fridge less than a week. That doesn't tell you anything. You don't know how old it is. What you know is that it was washed and sanitized when it was right after it was laid, and then it's been refrigerated the whole time. So I'm going to use it as a model, and I have here a container of lukewarm water. And to check an egg for freshness, you put it in enough water to totally submerge it. Now, if you'll look at that egg, let's see if you can see that. It's down on one end and up on the other. The bottom just raised a little bit. A totally fresh egg will lay flat on the bottom. An egg that's bad will rise to the top. An egg that's okay to eat but not super fresh will sort of, one side will lift up, one end will lift up. And I don't know how well you can see it, but you can see that it'll stay on the bottom, but it doesn't stay flat on the bottom. So that's an okay egg to eat, but it's not super fresh. So let's take that out. And here are my 6 eggs that my girls laid. Now, if I had known that these were fresh, and I don't know if they're fresh, I would have just put them in a carton and set them in a cool spot and they'll keep, if you don't wash the bloom off, they'll keep for quite a while. And generally what I did when I had a lot of fresh eggs is I would wash 1 dozen at a time and then refrigerate them because I like the texture of refrigerated eggs better. But they'll stay at least 2-3 weeks without refrigeration if they're fresh eggs. But these, I don't know how old they are, so I'm going to test them. They can't be more than 3 days old, I don't think, but I'm not sure because where I found them. So I'm going to test them, and I did wash them first because I didn't want any debris to affect how well they float or don't float. And I'm going to refrigerate them when I'm done with this. So let's check the eggs. Okay, so that one rises just a tiny little bit, but it stays mostly on the bottom. That's a good fresh egg to eat. Again, well, it's not even rising, it's laying flat. So that was probably laid yesterday or today. That one rises a little bit on the end, but it's at least as fresh as the grocery store egg. So good to eat. The same with that one, just a tiny little bit of rise. It's good to eat. Now, if they'd been laid this morning, they'd lay flat. There you go, just a tiny little bit of rise, but good to eat. And just a tiny, almost no rise, but just a little bit. So all 6 of these eggs are good eggs. I'll dry them off, I'll put them in a bowl, I'll put them in the fridge. Now, if you ever get one that rises up so that it's not touching the bottom at all, Even if it doesn't come all the way to the top, if it rises up, don't eat it. It's bad. It's not fresh enough to eat. Throw it away. So I hope that helps you. If you have your own chickens and you want to check the eggs, or if you're buying eggs at the grocery store and you want to double check to make sure that they're good and fresh, because grocery store eggs could be 6 weeks, 2 months old. There is a way to tell on the package, which I can't really tell you in this video because I'd have to look it up again. But I'll put it in the info section on how to tell how old eggs in the grocery store really are. But what I can tell from this is that these eggs were laid yesterday, maybe the day before. They've been in a cool, shaded place. Those are good to eat. I'm going to have some good, fresh eggs. Thanks for joining me on Debbie's Back Porch. Hope to see you again tomorrow.